Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Hedgehogs. I'm your host, Verte, and sitting beside me is my lovely wife and co-host,
Natalie Ruby Graves.
And this is, of course, our first episode. To tell you what we're going to be doing, we're going to be watching all of the episodes of the Saturday morning Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon from the 80s? 90s?
90s. Mid-90s, I think.
We'll double check that.
Boy, we should look this up if we're going to do a podcast on it, huh?
Yeah, episode 2. That's episode 2.
Wow, flying in blind.
Yeah. We're going to be starting with episode 1. So after this little intro, we're going to be watching the episode, and then we'll get back and talk about it.
Now, when we set out to do this, we both thought this was a much longer series, and that we'd have, maybe a couple years of episodes, and then move on to maybe something else. But,
yeah.
Then we Googled it, and there's only 26 episodes of Sonic SatAM. So, after that's done,
we'll most likely be moving on to either another Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, at least on this podcast, or one of the comics, or something. Well, if anyone's watching, we'll put it to a vote. So yeah, that'll be up to you when we cross that bridge. Now, I did want to bring up, because this is the only time we're going to be able to talk about this when it's new.
When it's relevant.
The Sonic the Hedgehog movie just came out a little bit ago, and we've both seen it. And I was wondering about everyone's thoughts. I super enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very fun. I thought the character was done super well.
That movie was a lot of fun. I recommend going to see it, especially if you are as into Sonic as you would need to be to come and listen to a Sonic the Hedgehog podcast. You're going to love this movie. They really did justice to all the Sonic stuff, I feel. Verte is the biggest Sonic nerd I think I've ever met, and they were just bouncing and excited and so happy, and I was also bouncy and so excited, and it was...
The movie is just great fun. It's honestly, it's fun. It's like a great movie to just see if you're wanting to watch something it's not too dark. It's not too... it has darker elements, but it's something you could go see with your family if you wanted.
Yeah, no, it doesn't require a ton of background knowledge. You're not gonna need to know all the lore of chaos to understand how to go and get it.
Yeah, you don't need to know about Mobius, as we'll get to in a bit. Wink.
Is it foreshadowing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we're about to go watch episode 1. And we will see you when we get back. Alright, so we just finished watching episode 1 of Sonic the Hedgehog. Episode 1 was called Sonic Boom, if I didn't say so before. So I'll just start summarizing sort of what's happened.
Well, can't forget about the intro. That
of course.
Intro. Now, so the intro is a little tiny bit tainted for me in a weird way because a long time ago I did a YouTube poop of a Sonic SatAM episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did.
Was it this one?
No,
okay.
It was. I just grabbed a random one off of YouTube. But every time they say Sonic, I just took the first syllable and then reversed it. Fun thing to do in YouTube poops. So it just sauce. It's funny.
Gotcha.
It was funny.
Well, it may be tainted for you, but I absolutely love the intro to this show.
I want to say, despite that, that's still a fucking certified banger. Oh, should I avoid cussing? We want that explicit tag, or we...
Don't worry about it.
You could bleep out the cusses with ring noises.
Maybe.
That's a lot of editing, but
the listener can tell us if I did that. Besides moving past the intro, which is certified banger, so very good.
It starts with this cool camera thing, or it's a Terminator vision. It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
It reminded me of the start of Mega Man X, weirdly enough.
Oh yeah.
I'll talk about this more later, but we get a shot in the intro of Robotnik, and I love Robotnik in this show. So The episode starts out, if I recall correctly, with Sonic, or with some opening shots of what we later learn is Robotropolis.
I gotta say, like, this show is, like, cyberpunky as hell.
Yeah,
like,
it takes a much darker tone,
I didn't watch the show much as a kid. I think I maybe caught one episode and was aware that it existed. But, and I had read, like, one or two comics as a kid, so I knew the universe. But, I mostly watched the Adventures of...
which is much
sillier, Looney Tunesy kind of vibe. So it's kind of like a stark difference to open with this Blade Runner, like, post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, I love so many of the designs, the robot designs and the world designs, the buildings, and in fact, I took a note. We see some robots that I thought were the stealth bots, but we learned that those are like flying robots later. So I don't know what these ones are, but I noted that they look almost exactly like Ed 209 with wheels.
Oh yeah, so like there were like mechs, driving around.
So we see some of those rolling around, and then we see inside of a pipe with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Voiced by Jaleel White. Steve Urkel.
Steve Urkel. I know him as Sonic, because I didn't watch Family Matters.
Got any cheese?
I did not watch Family Matters, but I love his voice for Sonic. I think it's early on right now, but
jokes aside, it really does fit with sort of the, like...
He does a great job.
Snobby, punky kid they're kind of going for.
Yeah, and in this show, he really is sort of...
He's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He's nice. His heart's in the right place. He's a little harsh at times.
Yeah.
He's just a little...
Yeah. So we open... we go to inside of a pipe... outside of the room the robots were in, with Sonic and two other characters. Antoine, who is a very French, very scared fox, and a character named Cat.
Who is a cat.
I think he's a bobcat, to be fair.
As soon as I saw Cat, and heard that his name was Cat, based on the fact that he's got very little details and his name is just Cat, I took the note that Cat's gonna die. And he's gonna die. And
I mean, maybe he will. I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Ooh. But one of the robots opens a vent and shines a light in, but it is revealed that inside the robot is actually their friend, Princess Sally, or just Sally, who is another main character of the show, who we'll be talking about a lot in the next few weeks. I noted that they sent Sonic on a stealth mission. That seems...
I mean, he's fast. I guess he can, like, zip past cameras and stuff.
Yeah, but getting them out seems a little... We come to learn later that there's only, like, 10 people that they have. So I get it. And Sonic the Hedgehog can...
I feel like the more questionable choice for the stealth mission was Antoine. Because he's the whole time like, oh no, Zootaloon, I am so scared. I am less scared, please.
Yeah, it's... Antoine... I thought for the whole episode that this was going to be like an Antoine sort of saves the day. Spoiler, he doesn't.
No, he just kind of...
I'm sure there will be
cowers.
And I, being a big fan of the comics, I know that he eventually, if you include the comics, becomes more of a less cowardly character. But that's besides the point. Maybe we'll get to that later. So, they talk about why they're there and why Sally's there. And they're going to
they're hacking
sabotage some of the
into
stealth
Robotnik's
bots.
computers.
Well, yeah. So while they're trying to mess with these robots, Sally is hacking one of these computers to figure out where everything is, and she gets a message that says "Bean." She says... It's an odd message. It seems like an odd message to me. But she says that it must be from her father, who I suppose is supposed to be dead. Or at least people think so. Once again, there's that darker...
Well, so while Sally is hacking into the computers, I made sure to take a note of this. Sonic is just like being impatient and just like tapping his finger and just really being like very ADHD and bouncy.
Yeah, he keeps trying to bother Sally too.
And Sally's like, "Do you mind?" And he's like, "Dogs mind, not hedgehogs." I have no idea. I cannot begin to figure out what that means. And then she's like, "Have some patience." And he's like, "Patience is for hospitals." Which, like, hey, I get that pun. What was that about dogs?
Hey, Sonic, can we go back?
Run back a second. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I took down the important note for lore reasons. It's really important to establish this. Is Sally Bean the Dynamite?
No. As the resident, very big Sonic nerd.
Gotcha.
No.
Confirm. Okay, let me just...
Yeah. Sort of in
cross
Canada,
that out.
I can tell you Bean shows up in the comics. Different person.
Gotcha. I believe he's also a bird.
Yeah. He's a duck, I think.
Oh, okay.
He is not, in fact, a dynamite.
Yeah. Not everybody's named after, like, name the animal.
There's, what, 2 who aren't?
True.
In the games, there's 2. But, anyway, not to get too sidetracked. She says, okay, this is a message from my father, and she's trying to figure out where it is, so she asks her pocket computer, Nicole, where this is coming from. And I took some notes about Nicole later that we'll get to, about what is it. But, and Nicole says it's coming from a place called the Dark Swamp. Pretty ominous.
I feel like it was a missed opportunity to. She's got her little like pocket computer, and it's just like a TV remote with a screen and a bunch of random buttons on it. I feel like it was a missed opportunity to not make it look like a Sega Game Gear.
Yeah. I mean, those kind of small details is something I don't think the TV show does a lot of. But maybe I know the comics did, but that's like years later. So Sally decides that she has to go to find out where her father is, and decides to sort of do this first. So they're trying to... Oh, I apologize. I forgot something. So while Sonic and Sally were doing this, Antoine and Kat stayed in the pipe, and Antoine was very nervous and very scared, and Kat said, "Oh, just relax," and he leans on a grate.
Yes, I am low relaxing, and then the grate gives out and he tumbles into the floor and gets caught by the robots.
Yeah.
They all gotta flee. They all disappear back into the pipe, and Sonic, Sally, and Antoine head in one direction. Kat gets hung up by something.
Sonic stays behind, and the other ones go. Sonic destroys some of the robots.
Oh, right.
Distracts them. One of the robots starts following Antoine, Sally, and Kat, and there's an intersection. Kat sees the robot and decides to, I guess, sacrifice himself and go in the other direction.
No, because what happens is they run into the pipe and they run in one direction, and Kat runs into the pipe like a second later and runs in the other direction, and the robot goes in and then goes the direction that Kat went.
Just happens
At that point, I took the note like, oh yeah, Kat is dead. Kat is definitely...
for sure. For certain. But I don't know. Maybe he comes back. Maybe he's one of the big name freedom fighters.
Oh yeah. No, he's gonna save the day. At some point we meet Robotnik.
So I think this is when we meet Robotnik.
Yeah, we cut to a scene of Robotnik in his swivel chair doing evil stuff, and I made sure to take the note, Robotnik the Pooh, because they got the same voice actor.
Jim Cummings, who does an amazing job. I've taken the note.
I have a rumbly in my tumbly. Snively, fetch me my honey. I have a rumbly in my tumbly. Well, there's the episode title.
Yeah.
Robotnik has a rumbly in his tumbly.
But this might be downplayed a little now that we've said that he's Winnie the Pooh, but I wrote down that I find this Robotnik truly scary.
He does have a scary design.
He also has a robot bird, which is just cool.
He's got like a robot arm too.
He has an entire robot arm. His gloves looked like they were made of metal. I don't even know how that works, but they were definitely gloves. But yeah, I love this Robotnik a lot. Like I said earlier, Well, we see him, and we're also introduced to Snively, who works for Eggman, and he is a bowling pin of a human being, and he just sort of, I'll do what you want.
I could be wrong, and I'm sure comments will tell me if I am, but I believe Snively is also Jim Cummings.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Gotcha.
He's either Jim Cummings or Rob Paulsen, and Rob Paulsen is like 60% of the voices in this cartoon.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty common, because I assume Jim Cummings was sort of a difficult get.
I mean...
He's pretty famous.
I wouldn't say he was at the time, though. 1993. He was...
A lot of Disney stuff.
He's in a lot of Disney stuff, but like voice acting wasn't really famous. Voice actors couldn't be famous.
But if you were, it would be with Disney.
Yeah.
But, moving on. So we see him, so then we move on to Sonic gets out and meets Sally and Antoine.
I wanna take this note. I feel like this is interesting to me, at least, is while Sonic is fleeing Robotnik's base, he does this thing that he does a lot in the cartoons that does not appear in any of the games, as far as I know, and my Sonic experts he turns into a buzzsaw and like carves his way through like solid steel.
I took a note about that too.
And like I always like as a kid like when's he gonna do that in the video games? Because he does that in the Adventures of cartoon as well. Like all the cartoons he does that.
Well, he really turns into like a flat saw blade in these cartoons, because he fits himself between like a sealed door.
Right, a sealed iron door closes.
Yeah,
and he just turns into a buzzsaw and like carves his way through the slit in the door.
I don't understand how Sonic is doing that. I think it's supposed to be like him rolling into a ball, and how that he in the like Genesis games. I just played Sonic 1 before this episode. You can like go through some walls and stuff, so I think that's what they're trying to do, and they just thought, oh well, he's turning into like a saw blade to get through walls.
I really just thought it'd be cool to animate.
It's one or the other.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I would say that's probably if they were trying to do anything from the games, that's probably what. So yeah, after that he meets up with Sally and Antoine, and Kat is missing, and Sonic is like, we have to go back and get Kat if he's been captured. But instead, Sally says, no, I have to go find my father. So me and Antoine are going to go to the Dark Swamp. If I recall, I didn't take a note of it, but if I recall, Sonic does another rude thing to Antoine here. Sonic is really rude to Antoine through the whole episode.
Yeah.
It's a children's cartoon. I guess there's just a character that
just gets bullied.
Yeah.
And everybody laughs.
Sort of the Balkan skull. Anyway, so Sonic decides to go back for Kat, while Sally and Antoine decide to go into the Dark Swamp. So we cut to them in the Dark Swamp, where Sally asks if there's any... there's a scene of Antoine getting scared, yet again.
We had to pause on a couple of those frames, because he's like bouncing around, and there's all these like goofy faces and stuff that are there for like a split second.
Yeah. So he gets scared and jumps into Sally's arms, and I think said, "Oh well, no, I'm not scared. It's just a way to get into your arms." Yeah, which I got a chuckle out of me. But I took note that Sally pulls out Nicole, and asks if there's any buildings in the Dark Swamp. And I was just like, what does Nicole know? As a rabid Sonic fan, I know what Nicole is, because I've read the comics, but that hasn't happened yet, so I'm gonna act like I don't. So yeah, what does Nicole know? And later on in the episode, we know that Nicole doesn't just know everything.
Not the perfect Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, but certainly...
But a really good one.
Yeah. But so they figure out that it's... there's an old abandoned prison, and that's where the message came from, most likely. So
it's a Mondo spooky castle.
It is a Mondo spooky castle, as Sonic proclaims later on when Sonic goes there. Also, Antoine is like a little touchy with Sally when they get to the prison.
He was a little touchy with Sally like the whole episode. I'm glad you pointed it out. Wasn't sure I want to do that, but he's just like, hello, mon chéri, right. I love you. It's like, hey, bud.
I think it's supposed to be a play that he's French.
Yeah.
Like kissing the hand and like...
but I don't know. In 1993, it reads very different than it does in 2020.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, a little. So we cut back to Sonic. Finally gets to Cat, and Cat says they've found out that Sally is going to the Dark Swamp. You have to go save them.
Oh, sorry. I should say Robotnik seems to torture Cat at first.
Yeah, I believe that's what's implied.
Because, we see a scene of Robotnik and Cat gets dragged in, and he is literally in, like, a stock, like iron stocks, his head and hands restrained, and they just drop him, and he's like, tell me where their fortress is. I'm the evil one, actually. And he's like, I ain't telling you nothing. I don't remember what he sounded like. Probably not that. But
well, I'm sure we'll have many more episodes of listening to Cat, so you can really get that impression.
I really gotta get that Cat impression down.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember. I'm sure there's some sort of ominous cutaway, and then we see Cat in the cell, just sort of tired and defeated.
Well, yeah, we see Cat in the cell when Sonic comes back, and Cat says, "Leave me, go help Sally and Antoine." I don't know how Cat knows that Robotnik. This isn't Eggman yet, and won't be for the entire cartoon. Yeah, Robotnik. He also calls the SWAT bots SWAT butts.
A lot of butts in there. He's really.
You can just sort of say "but" anytime.
Anytime they say "bot," which Robotnik does a lot. He's not the Eggman.
He's not the Eggman.
I'm not the Eggman.
He's not Eggman yet. That'll happen in the comics, like years later. So Sonic says, "I'll come back for you, Cat." So I'm gonna go help Sally, and he runs away. Some robots see him. I think there's some more action scenes, and we cut back to Sally and Antoine, who go into the prison. It's a Mondo spooky prison, as previously stated. Lots of shots of, I think, Antoine being a little more scared. And then Sally finds a torn piece of her father's cloak, which was
She has a very emotional moment there.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, like, this is like a much more serious tone than the Adventures of, by like a pretty wide mark. Like, there's a lot of like.
Well, this is a cartoon with like a plot too.
Yeah, it's not just like a silly goof gag.
Yeah,
that's
and there
not
are
connected,
goofs,
but
and it's sort of weird. I like it a lot.
There's
but
as many jokes as there is in like an action movie, but there's also like serious plot going on, and Sally's father might be dead, and she's very sad about this.
Yeah, but like the goofs are of cartoons of the time, so it's like Antoine, who's like very goofy, just a goof character,
making some Hanna-Barbera noises and doing silly faces.
So they find an old computer where it was most likely that Sally Acorn's. Oh, sorry, we don't know her last name yet. It's Acorn.
Spoiler.
We learn that Sally's father most likely sent it from this old computer, and that there's a message left, once again with the password being...
during this, Sonic's also being an impatient dick.
Well, Sonic shows up during this.
Yeah, while she's on the computer, Sonic speeds up and...
Scares the hell out of Antoine.
Sonic has no chill for a second. He's just bouncing off the walls, like, fucking tapping his toe and just being, "I'm waiting."
Yeah,
which I have a feeling is going to be sort of the "excuse me, princess" of this cartoon.
Yeah, well, Gotta Juice is that's the one to look out for.
Well, I think like the sort of the emotional equivalent.
But Gotta Juice is the one that's gonna be said at least once an episode. So the message wasn't able to be finished for whatever reason, but it says to look at this file on the computer, and it ends up being a big map of Robotropolis, which is the first time we hear the name of this place, which is, I guess, Eggman's big city. It seems a little wacky to me.
Sorry, whose big city?
Oh, sorry. Robotnik's big city. I apologize. How can I call myself a Sonic fan? Robotnik's big city. I feel it's a little wacky that he like took over most of the world and was like, "I'll name the big city Robotropolis," for how sort of dark and menacing he is. It's
his name, Tropolis.
I guess.
I don't know. Metropolis is, I don't know.
Metropolis is a word.
Yeah, it's also like a dark movie. There's also like a robot movie where like the world gets. I haven't seen it.
Gotcha. Well, anyway, I thought it was a little goofy. I thought it was worth pointing out. So while they're trying to download this map that has a whole bunch of secret tunnels in it, which they download to Nicole, who I guess can do this. Was there a plug? I didn't see one.
I think she like slides her into a slot, if I recall.
Oh, she's like a cartridge. Nicole is a cartridge.
I believe, and I believe Sally does that at the start as well, and she's...
Yeah, I know in the start that's what they did. Alright. Weird technology. Also, this computer is, I think, 500 years old, they talk about.
I think it's 100. 100.
100. Still. Pretty old. So, the building starts falling apart because the room was booby-trapped.
Sonic's tapping his finger on the wall.
And that
knocks a rock down from the ceiling, which smashes into the computer, which for some reason activates a trapdoor beneath them, and they do like an Elmer Fudd fall, and whew, and fucking fall down into a pit, and it's a brown mucky pit, and Antoine's like, "Oh, what's this?" and puts his hand to his mouth, and Sonic's like, "Whatever it is, it stinks." It's like, oh, they fell in shit. Yeah. Antoine just like put that on his mouth. Yeah,
that's definitely what it looked like. Maybe not what they were going for. Maybe
the animators drew that and they're like, I fell in shit, and then they're just like, no.
So they're just in like a room with one hallway that's dark at the end, and there's a red light. They send Sonic to go look at it, and he runs back to the group
and skids shit all over Antoine.
Well, yeah, skids all of this brown stuff onto Antoine, which is hilarious. We both laugh.
It's a real dick move.
Once again, Sonic being sort of an ass to Antoine. But says, well, whichever way we go, we can't go that way. And they go, why not? And then I think he says, like, well, look. And then the red light only then moves forward into the light to reveal that it's like
a big lizard?
Big lizard monster with one eye, sort of like a Rancor meets Godzilla, the Jiggler from Dragon Ball. That's
obscure.
Anyway, look it up. Look up Jiggler from Dragon Ball. He really doesn't look anything like it. I'm gonna drop it.
Good pull.
I'm gonna drop it. And so Sonic comes up with the idea for Sally to pull out a power ring and to hand it to him as he runs forward. This is the first appearance of a power ring.
Now, power rings appear to be...
They're supposed to be the rings from the video game.
Yeah, and they have an interesting power, because we see in the intro, actually, she tosses him a ring, and then he's able to, like, run much faster with the ring.
So, we're not told explicitly, but it seems that the power ring just makes Sonic go faster. Maybe he's more powerful. He gets stars around him like he's invincible. So sort of every Sonic media outside of the games has an idea of what rings are and do. And I like this one, but it's very weird. Like, it's not a thing that he collects. They're big, important items.
So yeah, Sally hands him one. And Sally and Antoine get on his back, which... How strong is Sonic? Lifting two adults?
I mean he's essentially like a war hero right now.
I guess. And then he, like, speeds towards this monster right into its mouth. And then we see them, like, it cuts to the back, and it's, like, pushing on its tail. Like, they've gone all the way through it.
Blow out
and
the
they,
other
like,
side.
punch through it. And I'm like, whoa.
That's really violent, huh?
And then it turns out it was a robot.
And you
see its robotic butt.
Sally says, Sonic, how'd you know it was a robot? And I believe Sonic says,
the hedgehog knows, and he gives like a little cheeky smile, like,
Sonic,
what?
you didn't know shit. You did not know that was a robot. You can't take credit for that. And there was no hint that this was a robot, other than there was a red light at the end of the hallway.
It's a big lizard monster. Why is Robotnik building robots that look like lizard monsters when all of his other robots just look like robots?
That's actually a really good point. Maybe it wasn't Robotnik who built it. That seems like a stretch. That sort of logic might fly in the comics, not quite in the cartoon. So we don't end. They pull out Nicole, and Sally is looking at these maps that they downloaded, and says, "Okay, if we go through these caves, we'll be there. And they're like, where? And she says, well, you'll see when we get there. Just tell your friends, Sally. And it ends up that they're back in Robotnik's base, which has a cave entrance as one of the walls. I guess he just sort of... He built it like a Minecraft house. One of the walls is just a mountain. Whatever. I think it's neat. It looks really cool, those backgrounds. And they finish messing with the stealth bots. And as they're about to leave, Sonic says that he has one more thing that he has to go do. So Sally and Antoine leave, and Sonic goes back to check for Cat, who is gone from his cell.
His cell is empty.
And Sonic gives a sad look, which... Wow, that's dark. I guess Cat is dead, or more likely roboticized, which Robotnik mentions earlier in the episode.
He says what roboticism is. He doesn't. We don't see what it is, but he says you're gonna get roboticized if you don't tell me.
Yeah, which I think we'll learn more about later. But context clues. I think you understand what it means. And then Sonic leaves, and they send the stealth bots to chase them.
And then Sonic pulls out this big robot eye from behind his back, like a Looney Tunes, or I think he was wearing a backpack. But
he was wearing a backpack.
Gotcha. He pulls out this big robot eye,
which we saw in the intro to the episode.
And then he says in like a weird voice, completely unlike his voice, news at 11.
Because it's a camera.
Yeah, I know,
but
he's Sonic over here making Gex cracks.
It was very Gex-like.
It's very Gexy. Did you put Gex in your notes?
No.
All right, it's just me thinking. I did.
Yeah, of course you did. And as Sonic does that, I think the stealth bots like crash or something. Snively tries to call them back, and then Sonic shows up like really close on the I guess that's the camera. That's what the camera's for. I forget the line that he says. He does like a one-liner, and then the episode ends.
That's how the episode ends. Cat's dead.
So yeah, well, Cat isn't dead.
We don't see Cat's corpse.
Cat's definitely gonna come back. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In the next 25 episodes.
There are 25, yeah. At episode 26, he shows up, like, war-torn with a big gun.
Half of him is a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the end of the episode. So you've never watched this show start to end before. What was your impression of it?
Like I said, like the tone is like quite a bit darker, and I wasn't like I knew it was a little more serious of a tone than the Adventures of, but I was expecting it to be sort of a comedy show first and foremost. When there's like long periods of time where it's just like Sally being sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's sort of got like a more darker and, dare I say it, realistic tone.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if realistic, but definitely that
grittier,
like,
more emotional.
Yeah. The set design, or not set, but like the background design and the robot designs, it's definitely darker. It's something I really enjoy as one of the weird Sonic fans who like it when they do more story rather than less.
I'm with you there, but I'll say it's sort of this show, at least judging just by the first episode, sort of seems to land somewhere in tone between the SatAM or between the Adventures of cartoon and the comics. And there's just kind of like a mid-ground there where it's got like a little bit of the silly Looney Tunes slapstick and then also a little bit of the like sad your family's dying,
and strangely enough, the comics really start a lot closer in tone to the Adventures of, and then it gets much darker with some of the plots, but only some of them. But maybe we'll get there. Who knows? So this is the end of this week's episode, and as we say every week, gotta juice.
Oh, is that gonna be your sign off?
Yeah, that's our sign off.
Well, can we let's plug some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then we'll say gotta juice again.
Yeah, no, you plug the Twitter and stuff.
So, yeah, we have a Twitter.com, a Twitter.com.
One of them Twitter.coms.
Wow, what am I, 80? Sometimes I feel it. Anyway, we have a Twitter. If you want to ask us questions, if you want to follow us, we'll probably post up whenever episodes are uploaded. It should be every Saturday. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
What is the Twitter?
The Twitter is SatAM, like Saturday morning, Hedgehogs. So SatAM
Hedgehogs.
Yep. And then we also have an email, under that same thing. If you want to send us questions or anything there, maybe we'll read them. Who knows?
We're still piecing this together, so you decide how this turns. You have some input on how this turns out.
Honestly, you're probably our only viewer right now. So if you send a question, unless you say something awful, we'll at least see it. Like we said before. Well, wait, we got more stuff to plug. I'm ready to go.
Follow me on Twitter at RetroRadNat. That I kind of have my own thing going on. I do YouTube videos and stuff.
Yes, my lovely co-host here does her own YouTube channel, and then also just tweets very funny things a lot of the time.
I'm apparently funny.
I think so. A lot of other people think so.
Ah, shucks.
So what was that YouTube again?
So if you wanna check out my YouTube, youtube.com/radnat, where I'm semi often, I hesitate to say, post videos, usually about video games and stuff. But yeah, check me out.
Yeah, that's that. All right, I don't have anything to plug right now. Just this. Keep watching this. I'd love it if you did that.
Hey, yeah, no, check it out. Tell your friends. And remember, gotta juice!